Welcome to a new 2016 edition of the Everlast Power video series. In today's edition, we're going to be unboxing a brand new Power iMig 275S. We're going to show you exactly what comes with the welder and all the main features of this brand new unit. When you open the box, this is how it should be packed. Notice the heavy foam protection on the ends and on the side, and then notice how the accessory box is packed on the other end. And you'll see that the power cord is plugged into the side of the accessory box. And the welder will be encased in a piece of plastic like this. Now let's pull the welder out of the packaging and remove the foam and inspect it for any damage. Okay, now we've got the welder out of the box and we've taken a quick look at it to make sure there's no dents or dings or any damaged or broken parts on it. And we're going to take a look at the accessory box now. Okay, now we've got the box here. We're going to go ahead and open it up. It's clamshell, so it opens on one side or the other. And what you've got here to begin with is a heavy-duty MIG gun, which is a Series 36 Benzel Trafomet style gun. And this has got the European connector on the front, and you've got the heavy duty 300 amp plus gun to go with the 275 amp welder. Now we also have, to go with the MIG, we also include a nice flow type meter, which is included with the unit, and it comes with all your connection cables already fitted to the hose, so that you can be ready to plug in as soon as you get it. We've gotten to the next part here, where we have a couple of consumables that come with the MIG gun. Now these range from .040 to .045 in diameter. Now this will also work with the .035 wire, and we do have the .035 and smaller tips if you need them. And along with that, in the package you get a special wrench to install these. Any kind of little wrench will work on these, but this is just a wrench that we include in here so that you can install and uninstall the tips at your convenience. Okay, next we've got the work clamp. Now the work clamp has the heavy duty 300 amp DINS connector on the end, and that's a 3570. We also have a 300 amp work clamp here. So you'll be able to use the full width of the machine. Now we do have brass work clamps available, or you can buy them locally if you want a heavier type connector. Okay, we've come to the electrode holder. Of course, it's got the same heavy duty DINS connector and about a 10-foot cord. You also have a heavy duty 300 amp stick electrode holder. Now we include this because this unit is a stick and MIG machine. Primarily it's MIG, but it also has excellent stick welding capabilities. What we have here is the final part of the accessory box are 2 sets of additional drive rollers. I know you see 4, but this is a heavy duty unit, so it requires 2 for each size wire. Now each one has actually 2 grooves in it. What we have here ranges from 0.6, which is 0.23 or 0.25 diameter wire, all the way up to 1.6, and that is up to 0.62 thousandths, well, 62 or 65 thousandths, whichever you want to use. It'll accommodate both sizes if you happen to have an odd size wire. But the unit itself has another side set inside, and we'll discuss that in just a moment. Okay, this is the front panel of the welder. Now this is the Power iMig 275S, as we've referred to earlier in the video. But what the S means, this is a synergic function MIG. It doesn't have anything to do with stick, but rather with a synergic function. Now synergic function is simply that you can dial in the programming of the welder by simply selecting the parameters of the type wire that you're using and the diameter of the wire. And this will help you to automatically set your wire speed and your voltage. Okay, we're going to open up the protective panel right here. We're going to take a quick look at a few things on the top here and on the bottom. Let's actually start with the bottom. This is your quick connect for your Euro gun connector. And this is just a quick plug and play type solution instead of having to use any tools or anything to connect your heavy duty MIG gun. Now we have a positive and a negative connector here. Now with MIG, standard MIG, not flux core, you're going to probably always be electrode positive. With flux core, you're going to be electrode negative, but you'll either change your work clamp position to positive or negative depending on flux core or hard wire. With hard wire, your work clamp is going to be in your negative. With flux core, it's going to be in the positive. And of course, for stick welding, you're going to put your work clamp in the negative and your electrode holder in the positive. Now, to take a quick look here, this unit is actually 60-10 stick electrode enabled. So if you're working on pipe or you're working on a mixed fabrication job, you actually have a standard and a 60-10 mode for stick welding. And along with it, you also have a standard MIG mode, a synergic MIG mode, a spool gun mode, and a synergic spool gun mode. At the top here, you'll select your wire type, whether it's steel, stainless steel, or aluminum. Now this doesn't cover every classification of metal, but you can always use the standard mode. And we also have wire diameter from 0.023 all the way up to 0.045. Now if you're using anything bigger than 0.045, again, you can use the standard mode. And we also have selector buttons here to select various aspects of what you want to control. For example, we have volts on the left, and we have amps on the right for default. We also have a spot timer. We also have a burn back timer on this, and we also have an arc force when you're in stick mode. All right, over here on the amps, you have amps. You have a stitch timer, and you have a hot start for your stick and a hot start percentage for your stick. Now the hot start here is for the time in seconds or fractions of seconds that you want the hot start to continue. And this is the percentage over the actual amperage amount that you want to use to increase the hot start. And we also have a function here that is our memory function. Now you can save up to 9 different programs, whether in stick or MIG, to best suit your welding purposes. We also have an auto pre-flow and post-flow for your gas. Now that's unique in our units where we actually give you a chance to improve your weld quality at the beginning and end of your weld by providing extra shielding. We also have a pre and post flow off where you can do it like most any other MIG would. We also have a test gas flow. This test gas flow is actually to allow you to energize the solenoid to allow gas to flow through the MIG gun so that you can set your gas flow rate. Okay, one thing we ought to mention is that this is a 275 amp MIG welder. Now with that said, obviously it doesn't have any undercarriage. Most MIG welders in the 275 amp class include a rolling undercarriage because they're so heavy. This is still a pretty heavy unit, but you have a handle and you can pick it up and carry it around. Now another feature is that the side just simply folds down and you have access to the interior right here. And one of the great features about this is that this unit will hold a full-size 12-inch roll of wire, which will allow you to weld with a roll of wire weighing up to 44 pounds. Now this will carry a 12-inch roll of wire, as we said earlier. It will also carry an 8-inch roll of wire with one of our adapters. Now, if you don't have an adapter, you can order one from Everlast. Now, to adjust your tension on this, just simply remove this nut. Of course, this is also how you would mount your wire. But you're going to have another nut right here, a little metal nut, and a spring under here. Now, this will adjust your tension on your wire. Now, when you get your roll mounted, you're going to have an inertia flywheel effect, so it's going to change the way this turns other than with your hand. Now, to get the best feel of it, you're going to have to mount your wire and then turn it. It should not turn more than a quarter turn after the wire stops feeding. And it actually should turn only about an eighth, somewhere between a quarter and eighth of a turn after the wire stops feeding. You don't want a complete revolution or your wires just want to despool. To change your MIG polarity, we have this bus bar right here. And now it's connected to the positive, and over here you have the negative. To change polarity, you simply unscrew this and loosen this one, and then swing this bus bar up into this connector here and remount the screw. Now we're going to take a look at one of the most important features of this machine, and this is the heavy duty 4-roll drive feeder. Now this is a true 4-roll driven drive feeder because you have top and bottom rolls driven. Not all 4-roll drive feeders have top and bottom rolls driven. That's an important point. This gives you the best feeding capability of about any MIG machine on the market. With that in mind, this is a .035 and .045 groove drive roll. And that means that one of the other drive rolls that we have already has .045, but this is two of the most common sizes, so you won't have to swap out drive rolls very often unless you're running really small wire or really big wire. This feeder is all cast aluminum, and as you can see, it's pretty well made. You have a central tensioning system here where you can increase or decrease the tension on the drive roll to get the best feeding. Now we also have flux core rolls that are available, and if you look at these when you pull them off, there is a V-groove shape that's stamped on the side of the wire. You know that's for welding hard wire when you see a V-groove. For a flux core groove, it's going to be a serrated edge groove. One last thing I'll show you on the drive roll system is how to take these drive rolls off. Just simply release the tension, unscrew your thumb nut. You may have to use a screwdriver blade to loosen it, but it is a knurled thumb screw, so you should be able to pull it off with your fingers. And just simply remove the drive roll. Now as you can see the two grooves in there, and you will be able to tell quickly which way you want to install your drive roll by how it lines up with your wire that feeds through here. To reinstall, you just simply put it back on, line up your keyway, and install your thumb nut. Now you'll need to do this 2 times for both drive rolls, and don't forget to just do one. You need to do both drive rolls at the same time whenever you change wire sizes. Okay, this is the final part that we're going to take a look at, the rear of the unit. Now, this actually is your specification chart right here. And if you can look at it, you'll be able to see that this says it's got a 50% duty cycle. Now, that's an industrial level duty cycle for any MIG welder. And that's 50% at 275 amps. In other words, that's at full power. When you compare MIGs, make sure you're comparing them at their maximum amperage capability. You're going to find a lot of funny specifications once you get to many other manufacturers' high end of their amperage output. You're going to find that their duty cycle drops way off at the top of their output. They may advertise a higher duty cycle, but it's not at the maximum amperage. But here we give you a 50% duty cycle at 275 amps. Now for stick, this unit has a 50% duty cycle at 200 amps output. That is the maximum stick output that you'll be able to achieve with this MIG unit. But that's plenty for most applications. Over here, you have a fuse holder. If the machine were to stop feeding or you were to have some kind of problem, you may blow a fuse. Now, you can simply unscrew this and change the fuse. And here's the 2-pole breaker system that we use for your on and off switch. Now, you're going to need to have 240 volts available for this, and you're going to need at least a 50 amp breaker to get maximum performance out of the machine. And this unit also has 2 cooling fans, and this is how we help achieve the 50% duty cycle with these 2 full-time fans. Now this moves a lot of air and it keeps the unit very cool while you're welding. The final part that we're going to look at is the gas inlet. Now the gas inlet is where you connect your regulator. Now this is the end of the regulator. This is the standards 5/8 CGA fitting that you'll find with almost any regulator that you buy in the United States. You just simply install it and tighten it down with a wrench. Now one thing you might want to do before you get ready to weld is to take a little pair of pliers and add a little extra tension here to make sure that you don't have any leaks. And do this on both ends of your tube. Now this concludes our overview of the Power iMIG 275S. Now we're going to have more videos with this machine and some others later on. Be sure to follow us by subscribing to our channel. And as always, thanks for watching.